What's up? Welcome back to the Kevin's Coast to Coast Gambling Show. Week, I should know this. Going at 14?
13.
13. Okay.
13. Yeah.
By the way, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I was doing it's the last week in a lot of leagues anyway. Fantasy regular season before the playoffs start, and I have like two really key guys on bye. Is that a COVID thing, or I can't remember ever having bye weeks this late in the regular season for fantasy? Is that? Am I wrong on that?
No, I mean, I'm missing guys. Like because I have 3 teams. I play all in Yahoo, and I just I have 3 teams.
I think it's just the Panthers and the Bucks, but those are like key teams,
Yeah, I mean, I'm missing. I think is it Ryan Moore, one of the wide receivers.
Yeah.
My kicker Slay is on the Panthers. I'm missing. I don't have that many bucks across my leagues. I don't have many bucks, but I've got a lot of dudes that are down. I've got Lamar on 1 fantasy team. I've got Ben starting for 2, basically covering. I think I've got Herbert having to play because of COVID. So I'm missing a lot of just random people from IR. And what Yahoo did this year was they created this like bonus slot of your IR that I think is new. So like you can have people that are on the COVID list IR, and then you can have a regular IR. Like I have Kittle on 1 team that he's injured IR, and they distinguish that from being a COVID related IR. So it's just a catastrophe. But I mean, you can really this year you can stock and hoard, a ton of players, but way more. I don't know the analytics of this year's fantasy and how it's all working. I don't really care. I mean, I'm not a huge fantasy guy, but yeah, this year it must be just absolute chaos of you having to go, who's the 4th quarterback for Denver? You know what I mean? Like who's, and figuring out all that crap, and then, figuring out how, Taysom Hill is going to get distinguished because once he
he was a tight end / quarterback.
Yeah,
for that
like
first week,
you could put him at a bunch of different spots, and then when he got designated as the starter, they removed his ability to be slotted as a tight end, which I guess would make sense. Like I don't know why, unless you have a killer quarterback and he's your flex backup to put in different spots or something like that. But yeah, this year is probably the most insane fantasy year of all time.
Oh, absolutely. By the way, Denver, they have to be looking at like the local high schools right now because it's insane. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's insane. They didn't have a single quarterback going into an NFL game, which is wild. They
I watched that game. I was like, I'm just gonna hate watch it. You know what I mean? I don't have any stakes or care about. These
sure,
things,
just for the chaos element.
Oh yeah, I was like, this is incredible.
Yeah, of course. A quick note on fantasy while we're talking about it quick. What my commissioner did. So basically, you have all these games that are getting moved. For example, we just there's the Steelers game that was on Wednesday, the Cowboys game, which was Monday night. It's not Tuesday night. There's all this stuff, all these things going on, and there's always a chance that it gets pushed and pushed, and they eventually end up canceling it, right? So that's been kind of a sticky subject. Like, what if you have somebody who's supposed to play on Tuesday, all of a sudden that game gets canceled, and now you just get 0 points? It doesn't really seem fair. So what we've been doing, as long as you submit it before the Sunday slate starts, if I have I think it's happened earlier actually. Like Travis Kelce his game got pushed to Tuesday, and then there's no guarantee that was going to happen. So I'm starting Travis Kelce, but I would text our commissioner and be like, hey, if that game ends up ultimately getting canceled, I'm submitting my backup. But it's only the guy who plays if Travis Kelce no longer plays. So it's almost like this manual, and then he'll override the score for that week, which I thought was actually pretty helpful.
What kind of system are you guys doing? You don't use like ESPN or Yahoo?
It is. It's ESPN. I've never been a commissioner, so I don't really know. It's ESPN, but I guess you can go in and manually alter scores if you have to. There's like an option to do that through ESPN. So they do it all for you, obviously, but I guess there's some way to override that. It hasn't really happened. They've pushed games. They've never actually ultimately canceled it, but we had that as a backup option, I guess. Crazy. I don't know. I've never been a commissioner. I don't really know the interface or the tools they work with, whatever. But
wow.
Interesting. I mean, it's innovative at least. I thought that was interesting, but yep.
It's chaos.
Anyway, enough with fantasy. I'm in 10th place out of my 10-team league, so I don't want to talk about it. We will get into a recap of our gambling picks so far. So, for clarification, I think we did a Thanksgiving special. 3 of us, me and the 2 Kevins, all of our locks involved that night game that ended up getting pushed. So I'm just going to wash all of them because obviously circumstances change. It becomes a different game. The reasoning for picking something doesn't necessarily come through. Like Kevin Quinn, for example, picked the over because he thought that normally people have Thanksgiving dinner and the under always hits. So it's very dependent on it happening that Thursday. It didn't. So I'm wiping basically all our locks. but that same Kevin Quinn, West Coast Kevin, did submit a lock. Do you remember what it was?
So
Pats,
I have Pats +1 is what it was.
Okay, and the Pats won. So he hit on that. So he's now 6-5. You also, what was your lock for the Sunday episode?
Mine was Saints -6. I think I looked at the wrong sheet. Okay, so Quinn's his was Pats +2.5, so that covered.
Okay,
because they won.
Yeah, either way, yeah,
either way. And then mine was Saints -6. So yeah, I was like, man, I'm a coward. I'm gonna take the no quarterback Broncos to lose by at least 6. And what was it?
31-3. So
yeah, so there you go. So
that's a hit.
I was like, this is the lock of a century. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So you are back to 4-4. Kevin Quinn 6-5. I am 3-4, embarrassing, and Kevin Hatch, which by the way he would have lost. Like the first half of his tees lost, but I'm not counting it because I'm pretty sure if you actually put that bet in, they would have wiped the whole bet once the second half of the tees, that game got canceled. Mm-hmm. But the other half was like the Lions, and he was wrong on that. So he got lucky, but he is still 8-2. So I guess that's the recap of that. Did you do a primetime picks? Or how'd you do it with your regular slate last time?
I was horrible. So I think last week, week 12, was my worst by far. Like I'm usually hovering right at or above 500 against the spread, which is actually pretty admirable. That last week was absolute trash. I went 4-13 because I didn't pick the Baltimore Steelers game. So only 13 games for me. And then, it was horrible. I got Bills -5, Dolphins -7, Saints -6, and then Seahawks -5. Because I actually went with the Seahawks. Everyone got screwed by the Eagles. Didn't hit the backdoor cover, right? Isn't that what happened? They didn't cover. Everyone picked the Eagles to cover by
I believe so.
6 or something. Mine was 5 whenever we made the picks.
Yeah.
So
the Eagles
survived.
lost by 6.
Yep. Yeah, so I survived, but it was a bloodbath last week. I don't know what happened, but it was absolutely horrible. But at least I lock it. So
all right, well let's get into this week. We have almost full slate. I think, like I said, the Buccaneers, I don't know if we're talking about this before or during the recording, but the Buccaneers and the Panthers, both on bye. Everyone else is playing. So we have 7 1 o'clock games, 4 4 o'clock games, there's a Sunday night football game, 2 Monday night football games, and then, the coveted Tuesday night football game.
Sweet Tuesday night game.
Yeah. Fitting for the terrible Cowboys this year. We're not even playing on the regular days of the week anymore. So we'll get into it. I guess we'll start with the 1 o'clock games. The Bengals at the Dolphins, which is normally a terrible game. The Dolphins actually putting together a really good season. They're 7-4. The Bengals 2-8-1. We talked about this a lot on the show. They were scrappy, but then once they lost Joe Burrow, they're kind of a mess. So the Bengals, they're getting 11.5 points. Dolphins 11.5 point favorites. As I mentioned, the Dolphins are hosting. We'll start with you, I guess. What do you got?
Yeah, I think over a couple weeks we've now seen that. I know the Jets are bad. People make fun of the Jets. They say they're horrible. The Jets have 2 quarterbacks that I think the Bengals would kill for. You know what I mean? Where they're not good, but like Flacco and Sam Darnold. Yeah, like you can kind of put either one of them out. They're both NFL quarterbacks. But the Bengals, without Joe Burrow, are the worst team in the NFL. The record might not show, but if you started the season now, the product that Cincinnati puts on the field versus the product of the Jets, it's not even close. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are by far right now the worst team in the league. It sounds like Tua is not going to play. His thumb's still banged up, so Fitzy is going to get another shot out there. And I think, I'm actually taking the Dolphins minus 11.5 because I think just the Bengals is it Ryan Finley? Is that the quarterback? I know it's Finley, but he's horrible.
I don't even know, to be honest.
Yeah, so well, there you go. So yeah. I think it sucks because it was going to be Burrow versus Tua, right? By now, everyone thought, well, Tua will surely be starting. Everyone knew that Burrow would automatically already be starting, and the fact that they're both injured, you know what I mean? And then meanwhile, Herbert is out there just, I'm the rookie of the month again, you know what I mean? So it's kind of wild how it all worked out.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder, do you know if this game got flexed at all? Because I feel like doesn't every team gets a Monday night game? This feels like it's tailor made for these otherwise kind of shitty teams to get a Monday night matchup. Back when it was Burrow versus Tua, I wonder if that was I didn't look into it, but it seems odd that this is at 1 o'clock because I don't Am I wrong about that? Doesn't every team get like one Monday night game?
I would assume because I think the Skins get on at least once a year somehow.
I like that. That's your logic. Like,
yeah.
Skins
well, yeah. If you're going to give that, they are. Listen, I live on the West Coast, And I have to sail the seven seas to see my team play ever. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
yeah, they at least get on, I think, once a year. Same thing with the Washington Bullets, you know what I mean, as I'll forever call them. So, I mean, you can't. I have no idea how the scheduling works. Like, whatever. But I assume that every team, they get a Thursday night game because they were doing Color Rush jerseys and they're trying to sell more merch. So I think at least everyone had to play that shitty Thursday slot, and then everyone got that nice, sweet Monday night game. But
The Cowboys look sharp in their Thanksgiving Color Rush as they got their brains beaten in by your team.
I didn't understand why the week before the Skins went with their throwback uniforms
instead of Thanksgiving Day. Yeah, right.
Why? Exactly. Why just wait like 6 days
where the
and
world
trot
is
those
watching?
out?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like it's so weird, man. And they're a stripped down uniform anyway, and anything that like the old logos have all been removed, so it's basically a throwback Lions Thanksgiving uniform anyway, which are atrocious, by the way. So I was very confused as to why they didn't just wait to like, I guess they wanted to do it at home maybe for like the 30 fans and Alex Smith's like hot wife, like to enjoy. Like, I don't know who else is there.
Yeah, good point.
Makes no
I don't
sense.
know. But yeah, Cowboys, terrible team. I like those uniforms. I also am going with the Dolphins, by the way. I think the Bengals are a mess. Moving on. This is actually crazy that, I mean, if you just said, 5 years ago, Browns versus Titans, you'd be like, oh, what are they competing for, like last place in the league? Both 8-3, which is, wild. Just I know NFL there's a lot of turnover and changes and tides and all that, but it just seems crazy that Browns versus Titans are both, at least record-wise, elite teams. The Browns are on the road. They're 5.5-point underdogs. Titans getting 5.5. Again, both 8-3. I don't know why. I feel like I don't know what it is. Derrick Henry. I just feel like the Titans are a complete team. I just like them more, so I'm going to go with them, even though they're giving up 5.5. And the Browns obviously having a pretty good year in a tough division. I mean, the Ravens are tough, and the Steelers are the only undefeated team for the past month and a half or whatever. So no knock on the Browns. They're in a tough division. They're playing well, but I don't know why. I just feel like the Titans are the real deal and like could potentially be a Super Bowl team when it comes to the actual playoffs.
Yeah, no, that's kind of how I feel. Like I'm looking at last week, like Baker looked good last week, but then, James Robinson, the rookie running back in Jacksonville, Anthony Lynn of the Chargers quarterback said he looked like goddamn Herschel Walker out there. I think is it Herschel Walker you compared him to? I can't remember. But anyway, like he ran for 128 yards, 5.8 yards a carry on the Browns last week. And what is Derrick Henry going to do? You know what I mean? So I think Myles Garrett's finally back out now. Finally, I think he's activated again. But still, man, like, yeah, it's going to be who can deal with, if you can you shut down Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, or are you going to? It's like who can shut down the other running back the best? You know what I mean? But then I'll take Tannehill over Baker. You know what I mean? I just like the weapons, like with Brown, the wide receiver in Tennessee, and I'm surprised because I thought Tennessee would be struggling a little bit harder at this point when they lost like Taylor Lewin, the left tackle, and they've really just been able to handle that really well. It's fun watching like Bussin' with the Boys. Will Compton was like a skin. He was on the Skins for like 7 years. So it's fun to watch him play. And he was actually I think he was like the signal caller for the middle linebackers last week after like explaining on his podcast about how he was cut from the team this year. I think week 7 or 6 he got cut, and they brought him back on practice squad, and then they brought him back up, and then now he's back to actually like he's the signal caller on defense, which is huge. So kind of a wild season. It's just kind of fun to see those guys succeeding.
Sure. Next up we have, I guess, a rivalry game. I mean, it's a battle for the bottom of the NFC North. The Lions at the Bears. Lions 4-7. Bears 5-6. The Lions are +3. Bears -3. It's weird because I feel like neither one of these teams are as bad as a losing record, but it's just, I don't know, I guess the way things go. Like for example, I think if no matter who you are, if you're playing this team, it's not like an automatic win. I feel like they're both scrappy, but I don't know. I guess it's pretty accurate for them to be slightly below 500. We'll start with you for this one. Lions at Bears. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, the Bears have lost 5 straight games, which is crazy because didn't they start like 5-1?
I mean, if that's the case, they must have because it's 5-6 right now. Yeah.
That's crazy. So, I mean, I think this is a weird factor, but like I love the coach has been fired bounce back factor, and it's hit. We're 2-0. Dan Quinn, He was fired, when they were 0-5. They won the next game against the Vikings. Houston fires Bill O'Brien. They were 0-4. Boom. They won with Romeo Crennel the next week against the Jaguars. And there's something to be said about firing your coach before that cushy win, maybe. You know what I mean? I don't know if they preemptively make these decisions and they look at the schedule and they do it that way, but it's hit so far this year. I think it might happen again. Galladay is still out for the Lions, and people were joking that once Matt Patricia gets fired, he'll rise from the dead. You know what I mean? I saw tons of memes and everything. But yeah, I'm picking the Lions +3. I don't know if they'll actually win, but I'm gonna go with the Lions and the points. They would have won the last game, so this is the rematch of the Week 1 game where the Bears looked incredible when Trubisky was still playing good football, and the Lions would have won if DeAndre Swift hadn't dropped the ball in the damn end zone, right? You remember that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so they would have won the game anyway, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think this is I don't know. I'm going to take the Lions +3.
Okay, yeah, me too. I don't mean to keep agreeing with you, but so believe it or not, I know I'm very good friends with a Lions fan from Connecticut.
Okay.
I think I explained this. So Kevin Quinn.
Michael Stetz? Michael Stetz is working for the Lions.
I don't know Michael Stetz. Who is that? Is that an MMA guy?
Yeah. He did MMA Mania for years. And
okay.
He kind of bounced. He had his own podcast a while, but he moved to Detroit. His wife is a legitimate radio DJ or something, on a morning show or something.
Oh, man.
And so he moved to Detroit and he worked for her. He works for her station, and the station was like, yo, we need someone to help cover the Lions. So he goes to Lions press conferences and games and shit, and he's covering them.
That's such an interesting, marriage. It's not the wife is a morning disc jockey, and the husband works for the Lions. It's just anyway, good for them. No, yeah. So the Kevin Quinn, our own West Coast Kevin, he's a Falcons fan. His older brother is a Panthers fan, and his younger brother is a Lions fan. They're all from Connecticut. It's very odd. But the younger brother was extremely excited when they fired Patricia. So I'm agreeing with you mostly because I do agree with that whole bounce back thing. I think the team, understandably was probably frustrated with Patricia and how he's been basically his entire 10 years as a coach. He really is I don't know. I don't want to.
What was the deal? I don't follow the Lions, but what was the problem? The Belichick disciples, they just suck. What is going on?
I think it's just that. I think Belichick's so good, people will think that his disciples must also be good, and they're really not. The only person that's really had any success, and he's not really a Belichick disciple, is Vrabel. He just played for Belichick, so it's I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So my friend Pete Quinn was very excited about the Lions, so I'm going with him in the win, especially with them being an underdog. There has to be some sort of residual, enough to get them to at least, I don't know. But yeah, I agree with you. So next game, Colts at Texans. Colts 7-4, Texans 4-7. Colts are on the road, but they're road favorites, 3.5 points. Texans, of course, +3.5. What do you got?
So I'm the Will Fuller suspension, really, I think is gonna be pretty impactful. How many touchdowns did he have on Thanksgiving? Did they play Thanksgiving? What was the Duke Johnson game where he was running around? Was that last week or is that Thanksgiving?
They did, right? I'll look it up.
Remember where Houston just beat the shit out of...
I think it was. Wasn't it the Lions game?
Was it? Yes. They killed the Lions, right? On Thanksgiving? Deshaun Watson looked incredible.
Yes. 41-25.
Duke Johnson's running around.
I definitely remember. I'm in a big fantasy trade. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I traded Duke Johnson for Deshaun Watson. It actually kind of worked out for both of us.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So Will Fuller looked great in that game, running just straight past, was it Darius Slay? So they couldn't cover him. Him being suspended is going to be brutal. They've still got Brandon Cooks, I think, oddly enough. Duke Johnson's still back there. Deshaun Watson's still Deshaun Watson. But I don't know. I just don't think it's not going to be comparable. The Colts defense, they couldn't stop Derrick Henry last week. Houston doesn't have anywhere near that same kind of a run game with Duke Johnson. He's just not that kind of player. Going back to his days at Miami, I'm a huge Miami fan, Hurricanes fan. So I always root for Duke, but man, he's just been so poorly misused. It's a weird thing to watch. But yeah, I'm going to take the Colts -3.5. I don't think Houston is going to be able to keep up.
Sure. I'm actually agreeing with you again. I think there is always some validity to the whole bounce back thing. The Texans are coming off a huge win. Colts are coming off a bad loss. I don't know. I think the Colts bounce back. I think the Colts are a good team, and they're almost overlooked because I don't know. I just feel like they don't have star power or something, or the fact that maybe Philip Rivers is a little washed up. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I think the Colts are actually a solid team, and I think the Texans overachieved and the Colts underachieved, and you're going to see the results of that this weekend. So next we have the Jags at the Vikings. Jags 1-10, second worst team in football record wise at least. Vikings 5-6, and the Jags are 10-point underdogs on the road. I think that's probably accurate. I know somehow the Cowboys beat the Vikings. I feel like that it was just. I think the Vikings are not great. I don't think they're as bad as they looked in that game. I think I don't know. I hate these double-digit lines, and especially in the NFL. I feel like there's always parity.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it's a weird one. Like especially with Glennon, because Glennon actually, people are saying Glennon looks the best out of all three of the Jags quarterbacks this year. So I'm gonna go Jags plus the points.
Who did they beat?
Who's that in
Jags.
week 1? Man, was
it week 1?
It must have been because I think they're
the Colts. Shit.
Yeah, so they've
lost 10 in a row.
10 in a row.
All right.
Yeah. So it's been pretty brutal. But, the Vikings pass defense isn't great. Glennon could try to exploit it. On the other hand, like Kirk actually looks good now. They've got Jefferson. They've always got Dalvin Cook in the back pocket. And then Thielen's back this week. So, yeah, man, I mean, like, I don't know. I'm expecting the Vikings completely to win. But I'd still, like, double digit with the Vikings, like, it's not enough. It's not enough to get me off that point. So I'm going to take the Jags plus the points.
All right. Well, I agree again. I'm also going Jags. Maybe we'll disagree on one of these.
All right.
Raiders -9, Jets +9. Of course, the Jets, the only winless team in the league. They're 0-11. The Raiders 6-5. Jets hosting. I'll start with this one. I don't know what it is. I feel like I overlooked the Raiders, and maybe this is like the slingshot effect, but now I feel like the Raiders are underrated. So I actually... The Jets are so bad, I think they actually will cover that. I don't know if it might also be my mind playing tricks on me with like, oh, it's single digits. Not like 9 and 10 are basically the same line, but for some reason 9 seems so much more manageable than 10. So I'm gonna go, Raiders -9. I think they'll win. I think they'll win big against the Jets.
Okay, so are you're taking the Jets not to cover, or you're going with Raiders?
I think the Raiders will win by more than 9 points.
Okay, so I had the Jets +8, so that was the line whenever I pulled it up, but sure. I'm actually going to take the Jets +8.
There we go. We disagree.
There you go. Yeah. So the Raiders looked horrible. Did you watch that Atlanta game? Like, I don't know what happened last week.
I saw like red zone clips.
They got murdered. What was it? It was like 41-7 or something. Like, I don't know what happened. And Gruden like prophesized it a little bit, where he was like, "This is the best 3-win team I've ever seen." And I was like, "Oh, that's kind of an odd comment to make going into a game," and then they got shit stopped. You know what I mean? So Gruden must have known something we didn't. I don't know. I mean, Darnold looked horrible last week against the Dolphins. He had 0 touchdowns, 2 picks. Derek Carr looked equally horrible. I think he accounted for 4 total turnovers. He had 3 lost fumbles and a pick. You know what I mean? Against like a pretty horrible, Atlanta defense. The Raiders gave up 5 sacks. 5 turnovers total. And I was like, ugh, man, I know the Jets suck, but man, like, it's still an NFL team, and the Raiders didn't look that great last week. So, I mean, they're going to bounce back, and then I'm sure they're going to win, but I was like, man, I'll take the Jets on the points. Yeah. Or at least keep it close,
So I feel like the Falcons are one of those teams where I was expecting them to, I feel like they've been underachieving. They were. Oh, for sure. They could have a great record. They just kept blowing these like historical leads.
Well, I mean, yeah, they've got Matt Ryan. They've got Calvin Ridley. They've got Julio Jones. They've got Todd Gurley. I don't know who plays tight end anymore because when Hooper left, I don't know who they've got anymore. Yeah. But I was like, this shouldn't be that bad of a team. You know what I mean? Like, think about like the Skins have done more with less. You know what I mean? Like, how are you guys in the same conversation of draft order? You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, I fully agree. And let's get to them right now. I guess the Falcons are the last 1:00 game. Saints at Falcons, rivalry game again, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Saints are 9-2, Falcons 4-7. Saints only 3-point favorites considering the record difference. I'm sure that is in some part due to the fact that the Falcons are coming out of this huge blow-off win. Maybe they like figured something out. I don't buy it. I'm going Saints. I think that's actually an insulting line. I think the Saints are significantly better than the Falcons. A 3-point spread is, I think ridiculous to me. I think the Saints win easily by more than 3 points.
Yeah, my line was 2.5, which I feel fine. I feel fine at 3 too. But yeah, I think maybe they're looking at Taysom Hill. Like he looked a little shaky against Denver, yes. So he didn't look great. I mean, I watched that game, and Denver's defensive line isn't bad. They've got friggin' is it Nick Chubb or Brandon Chubb?
No, no. Nick Chubb's Browns, right?
Okay, what is it? What Chubb plays for Denver? I can't remember his name.
I'll figure it out. Go ahead.
But anyway, yeah, he was a beast out there running around. So Denver secondary is not that bad. Their linebackers didn't look that bad. So they kind of like controlled Taysom Hill a little bit. You know what I mean? So Taysom Hill didn't look awesome. He didn't look like who were they comparing him to? Not Brett Favre. Steve Young?
I don't know, man. The Taysom Hill, I heard an argument. I think it might have been Big Cat from Barstool. He was saying that Taysom Hill, not anyone, but like if you plug in a lot of these athletes into this weird, unique position, they would also find success here and there. When they are the pure starting quarterback, like he's gonna struggle. It's almost like the I don't even know the word for it, but like just the fact that it is such a weird thing that's gonna have success because the defense is gonna have to try to adjust to that. On random plays and whatever. But once he's the actual guy, I don't know how much success he's going to have. So all these comparisons, he's fun for the media. I get it. He's like an interesting case, but I don't know, man. It definitely like not the people are freaking out. Like I don't think he is anything special. I don't know. I could be wrong.
I mean, I'm trying to remember. Like I don't know
Bradley
if he's
Chubb, by the way.
Bradley Chubb. There you go. Man, I was like, has he thrown a passing touchdown yet? I don't know if he has. He's run for a touchdown in his starting role, but I don't know if he's thrown for any. And he didn't look great. His like yards per attempt must be under 6. Like he didn't, they're already playing in the Drew Brees like dink and dunk, like get it out quick offense and everything. But like when you remove Taysom Hill from all the other stuff he was doing, the offense kind of like suffers. You know what I mean?
4.8 or 4.9, I guess, yards per passing attempt.
Yeah.
And nope, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. He only had the 1 start, right? That was his first week starting?
I thought this was second. I thought Denver was the second week because Breeze has been hurt for 2 weeks, right? At least 2 weeks.
Yeah. He also has, I guess 10 rushes for 44 yards.
I mean, he was, they're playing kind of the,
he's 2-0. I guess. No, wait. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
He hasn't lost, but he hasn't looked incredible. So I mean, it's kind of one of those things. So I think that's why the line is where it is. Especially like the Falcons after that big win, like Raheem Morris. I think like people think like, oh shit, like Raheem Morris is an actual NFL coach. Even though who fired him? The Bucks, right? Didn't he washed out of the Bucks for after a couple years or something, and so now is he defensive coordinator for the Falcons, and then they're saying like, hey, he's probably just gonna get hired on as the full-time coach, I assume. Makes sense. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Geographically, Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's, if I had to take a bet on Raheem Morris just getting hired on, I'd go ahead and take that one. But yeah, they might be without Jones again. They might be without Ridley and Gurley. I mean, I think Gurley and Jones were both out last week. So now they might also lose Calvin Ridley. They've got just a lot of weird injuries. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Saints -2.5. But yeah, 3 I'd take. Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I mean, again, the line moves, but it's essentially the same. I understand they could potentially win by 3, and then it'd be a push now instead of a win. But whatever. It's basically the same bet. Let's do a little math of my own. So 311 yards over 53 attempts, which comes out to 5.9 yards per attempt as a quarterback. Taysom Hill over those 2 games. But that's it for the 1 o'clock game. So moving on to the 4 o'clock games. Rams at Cardinals. Rams 7-4. Cardinals 6-5. The Rams are 3-point favorites on my slate. Interesting game. I thought, obviously Kevin Quinn nailed it, I guess, with his lock. But I thought the Cardinals are going to beat the Pats. They're coming off a loss. Rams kind of confusing because I feel like they're a good team, but they're also in a tough division, arguably the toughest division. And that might be showing a little bit, but they're still 7-4. I don't know. I guess we'll start with you.
I hate the Rams right now. I've been fading the Rams all year, and then I picked them last week, and they just just shit the
bed. It's a spite pick. Then you're going with the Cardinals.
Oh well, I mean, no, but last week they looked horrible. It was back to like Jared Goff looks awful again.
He disappears for like weeks at a time. It's the weirdest. But then other times, like they look like you can't stop them. They'll get like 10 yards every single time they snap it.
I mean, it was horrible. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I'd love to see what Sean McVay could do with like a kind of legitimate like stud quarterback, even like a Cam Newton or something. You know what I mean? Not a stud, but like Jared Goff, man, like his weird skill set. He makes terrible decisions. He's supposed to be, I don't know. He went to Cal Berkeley, right? So you're supposed to be somewhat smart, but I think that has been kind of debunked with watching him on Hard Knocks.
He doesn't strike me as like a real maniac, you know?
No, was it Hard Knocks or like? Did you ever watch?
He's on Hard Knocks twice.
Right. So yeah, they kind of.
This past year was it was Rams and Chargers, and he was also on definitely like a couple years ago.
Well, yeah, was that the Amazon series that they did when he was a rookie?
No, I only know it's not that because I watched like 3 episodes of the Cowboys season. That's all I've ever seen, and I know I watched Jared Goff. I think it was when he was a rookie. Whatever year that was, he was on Hard Knocks.
But I think we've like we've established that he's not Aaron Rodgers. Let's say cerebrally, you know what I mean?
Sure.
He's just not. So I mean, I don't know. It's a weird one. Like they looked horrible. Murray looked horrible last week, which then led to Hopkins basically, had 55 yards. He had Stephen Gilmore to like contend with, you know what I mean? But like Murray didn't look great. 0 touchdowns, 1 pick. Hopkins 55 yards receiving. Killed me in fantasy, by the way. I have a team that has so I'm in this constant struggle where I have a real heavy wide receiver team on one of my teams. I have Hopkins, Diggs, McLaurin, and Jefferson in the Vikings. And it's a week to week, like who sits, who starts, who sits, who starts. Because I usually have at least one of them in the flex. So like and I always just get screwed. And so you got to play Hopkins, right? If he's on your roster, like how can you not start him? So if he's out there, I think he produced like 5 points for me, you know what I mean? And then you've got Jefferson on the bench with like 15 points. So anyway, it's just my own personal problems, but
no, I agree. I mean, whatever. I'm again done with fantasy. I was like, I think I'm putting up like 140 points a week and just getting smoked every single week. Like it's all just matchups. Anyway, which isn't great, but like 140 shouldn't lose every time.
No, you should never lose with 140 points in a like a PP. What is it? PPR or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, you should never.
People are dropping like 170, 180 points on me every week.
Jesus.
Yep.
And McCaffrey's not even in the league right now.
He quit on the team. McCaffrey quit on my team. I'm very upset with him. Yeah. Now I would love. I don't know how you'd figure this out. I'd love to know a stat of how many people like drafted McCaffrey because it has to be
he went like one overall every team. Yeah.
How many of those? I want to know the collective records of those teams because they can't be
bad.
Yeah,
in a snake draft,
pick is so
32nd overall or 20th or however many teams.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like
you're screwed.
I would have to imagine all those teams just got absolutely screwed.
What a great year where. In a lot of leagues, McCaffrey probably went 1, and then Zeke went probably like 2 or 3.
Oh yeah,
you know what I
mean? Like I don't even. Wasn't Michael Thomas hurt this year too?
Michael Thomas, yeah, he missed like 5 weeks at least, and then he's done nothing since he came back.
Yeah, who's your safest bet here? Like Derrick Henry, maybe? I don't know.
Derrick Henry, probably. Yeah,
those early
I guess.
All right, I'm going with the Rams. I don't know if I get my pick yet. I'm going with the Rams because. I don't know. I feel like you almost said like you're fading them, and when you bet on them, they screwed you. The Rams always do the opposite. So like all the reasonings you just gave of like why the Rams will lose this game, I don't know why. Like that made me want to pick the Rams. I feel like they're a confusing team. They always do the opposite of what you expect. 3 points pretty close. I don't think the Cardinals are anything special. I'm going with the Rams in this game. I also think that D-Hop as special as he is, Kyrie makes me nervous. Not Kyrie, Kyler. By the way, I always mess it up. Because it's like Kyler Murray and then Kyrie Irving. I just get confused. Kyler. I don't know. I just don't trust him. He seems little. He seems like he's like just. I mean, he is little, but he just seems like every time I see him, he's like tinier. I don't know what it is.
He's shrinking.
Yeah, so I'm going Rams. I'm
going Cardinals, by the way, just so there's no confusion. Yeah, I'm going Cardinals plus 2.5. Yeah.
So we've disagreed, I think, twice now if we're keeping track at home. The Giants. 10.5 point underdogs. They're 4-7 right now against the Seahawks, who are 8-3. also a little bit confusing team. Like I feel like they should be world beaters, and sometimes they look very pedestrian. But still 8-3, and they're 10.5 point favorites at home. NFC East obviously a mess. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna actually go with the Giants plus the points, and I had them
new
at
quarterback
10,
too,
so.
right? They have Colt McCoy this week.
Yeah, Colt McCoy is gonna start with Daniel Jones out. I'm not impressed enough with the Seahawks this year to grant them that favorite. You know what I mean? That line. I don't know. I mean, Metcalf looked incredible last week. They couldn't stop him, slow him down. He could have another huge week and prove me wrong and do all the stuff. But I mean, Russ gets sacked a lot. I think he's given up 35 sacks this year. I think it's like, ranked like 30th, 29th, something like that in the league. The Giants get a lot of takeaways. They're going to hit Russ. They're going to get to him. They got Leonard Williams, looks really good. So I don't know. I like the matchup of maybe creating some turmoil enough to muck it up to get some turnovers, which then lead to a reduction in points. So I didn't like that line. So I think they'll hit them. They'll get some fumbles. They'll get a pick here or there. They'll get turnovers. I don't like the Seahawks run game that well. Is Carson back? Chris Carson finally back? I just don't think they really established anything with like DJ Dallas and like Homer. I don't know. So I'm even with Colt McCoy. Ugh, God, which is brutal to say, but I'm still gonna. I like the Giants line too much to kind of. It's a double-digit line like in the NFL.
I agree. That's the old adage: never take a double-digit line in the NFL. Chris Carson is back, by the way, but I'm also going Giants plus 10.5, and I think. So for me, Colt McCoy is actually the reason for that because you have
the line moved because of Colt. Yeah.
No, but so you have the quarterback coming in, and I feel like Daniel Jones is like a turnover machine, and I feel like Colt McCoy won't be only because he won't take those chances. So I think it'll be a lot of clock management, a lot of dump down passes, just not a lot of opportunity for quick turnovers, maybe a quick score by the Seahawks. So I don't think they'll have. I think the Seahawks will win. Obviously, I don't think they'll have. The time to build up this massive lead to cover that 10.5 point spread. So I'm going to go Giants plus 10.5. Again, I think for sure the Giants will lose, but I just don't think they'll lose, by double digits. I think that's kind of crazy. I agree with the line. I agree with your point on the line. All right, Pats at Chargers. Pats -1. They're 5-6. Chargers 3-8. They're hosting, obviously +1. I guess I'll start. I'll go with the Chargers on this one. Same kind of reasoning as. Again, I have to look back at when I use this reasoning and how often it works, but it's just the way my brain works. I think when you have, I thought the Cardinals were going to beat the Pats somehow pull off the win. That creates for a little bit of a letdown. I still historically think the Chargers are a lot better than they've been showing. I don't know what, I just feel like, and maybe it is the flash or the way they play or whatever. I just feel like the Chargers have the ability to be a lot better than 3-8, and I think the Pats are kind of shitty still. I know somehow they're almost back to 500, but I don't know. I'm going Chargers at home.
Yeah, I mean, the Chargers are my West Coast darling team. I'll throw them on CBS and I'll watch them. And yeah, it's wild to watch them lose these games every week by 3 points because Anthony Lynn doesn't know how timeouts work and stuff. So
sure.
I can tell you the fan base assumes that Anthony Lynn is probably going to get fired. I think Dan Orlovsky was on ESPN all week saying this is probably it. You know what I mean? He's kind of bungled the play management type things. They've been snake bit with injuries. Bosa was out half the year, then Bosa comes back, then Melvin Ingram is injured. Derwin James is out all year again. So it was weird. Herbert has been kind of the one bright spot. Keenan Allen looks good. The problem is Austin Eckler's been hurt for most of the season. He got dinged up early on in the first month of the year, I think. And then when Austin Eckler came back this week, the offense just looked completely different where, I don't know what Herbert's yards per attempt were before coming into this game, but they must have dropped down to 5 because now with Austin Eckler in the offense, Herbert just drops it. He just checks down to Eckler every time. So the offense actually got worse. It's stymied. He stopped pushing the ball down the field to Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and the quarterback or the tight end rather. I can never remember his name. I always confuse him with the Rams tight end because I'm just watching Los Angeles football team. So it's not Higbee. It's I can't remember. But anyway, the offense looked worse. So you added this dynamic kind of scat back running back to help the offense, but it actually looked worse. So I'm going with I'm going with the Pats +1. I know Cam looked like absolute dog shit last week, and I think Joey Bosa is going to get to him like 3 times. But I also I found this stat. I saw this stat. I don't know where I saw it, but Belichick has never lost. He's either never lost to a rookie quarterback or he's won 8 straight games against rookie quarterbacks. So, he's going to scheme it up somehow. You know what I mean? Wily old Bill. So, I have Patriots +1. What is your line?
Yeah, +1. No, sorry, I have Patriots -1.
Oh, Patriots -1? I had Patriots.
That's what it was this morning on Bovado. Unless I messed up. It's possible I messed up the... I'll double check.
Oh, shit. Well, maybe it moved. Let me refresh. It's basically a pick'em, but mine was +1, and I was like, shit, I'll take the Patriots +1. But yeah, I refreshed it. It looks like it moved back to Chargers +1. So I have them dead even on 1. Let's see. William Hill Sportsbook has them even. But yeah, and then everyone else looks like FanDuel, MGM, and DraftKings.
I think they removed it from Bovado. I checked this morning. I don't see it right now.
Oh, they just yanked it, huh?
I guess.
Yeah.
Because it was moving so much.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, I don't know. Mine was when I'm doing all these, I'll just look and I'll make my decisions based on that. But yeah, I would still comfortably take Patriots -1.
Once it's the 1, you're basically because it's not going to be a tie. I mean, you're basically just picking who's going to win that game.
Yeah, well, that's why I was like, well, yeah, I'll take Patriots +1 if I have that. But I would comfortably take them on either side of the ball. Like, I hope the Chargers do well. It's fun to watch them. They're scrappy. I like Herbert, but yeah, I can imagine Cam can't have that. I mean, 84 yards, I think 2 picks, no touchdowns, I think was the line last week. Jeez. He looked horrible. So I just don't think the Chargers secondary, they've got injuries in the corner. They've got Rayshon Jenkins doing the best he can out there. But yeah, it's, and then Keenan Allen versus Stephen Gilmore is going to be fun to watch. So yeah, I don't know. Patriots +1, -1, either way.
Cool. Yeah, I got the Chargers. Just to clear some things up. So Belichick 20-5 against rookie QBs. So it must be, how many, but even that's ridiculous. 20-5.
Yeah.
And then the tight end you were thinking of is Hunter Henry.
Yes. I can never fucking remember. Yeah. Hunter Henry.
Yeah. Next, the last 4 o'clock game, we have the Eagles +8.5 against the Packers -8.5. Now, just quickly, the 4 NFC East teams this week are the Giants. So it's 10.5, 8.5. Sorry, obviously +10.5, +8.5, +7, +7.5. I mean, it's horrible. We know that. It's just interesting to see it all.
I saw. Did you say 10? I think the Skins are.
I have the Giants +10.5. Skins I have +7.
Oh wow. Okay, I had them at.
Which is, we'll get to that. I mean, but that's
okay. Yeah, you're right.
That's a very complimentary line to the Skins, I think.
Yeah.
It probably just blew us out. But so the last 4. So Eagles at Packers. The Eagles, of course, have that tie with the Bengals. They're 3-7-1, and the Packers are 8-3. Packers at home in Lambeau. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Packers, the weather, Rodgers. He looked good against the Bears. Rushing. Did he get sacked? I don't know that he got sacked against the Bears. I don't think he did. But yeah, he looked good against the Bears. Devontae Adams looks good. Philly tried to take away DK Metcalf. They tried to shut him down. They doubled him. They tried to take him out of the game. It didn't work. So I'm assuming that they're going to do the same thing with Adams. And if Metcalf can exploit it, I assume Adams will also be able to exploit it, especially with Rodgers. And the Packers are fun to watch just because they have so many options with Tanyan and Lazard back and the poor guy that was getting death threats for fumbling the ball. I'm trying to remember his name. Scalard.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I can never remember. But it's going to be interesting because I think Philly's got a good pass rush, 36 sacks on the season. Rodgers is David Bakhtiari. He's finally back and he looks good. So, the Eagles get sacks and the Packers don't give up sacks. So it'll be an interesting battle to see how that goes. I think Packers are ranked second. They've given up just 12 sacks this year, keeping Rodgers pretty clean. So it'll be interesting to see how that front 7 does against the Packers.
You're right, by the way. The Bears did not get to Aaron Rodgers.
Crazy with
game.
like Khalil Mack on the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Crazy.
And that has a lot to do with Aaron Rodgers too. I feel like he makes such good decisions of when to roll out, when to throw the ball away, like everything. I think he's just. I really think he's as good as the hype is.
No, he's great. Like
so.
if you listen to like, because I usually would listen to the clips that he would do on Pat McAfee show. He does it like 45 minutes every Tuesday, and I just listened to the whole interview this week, and he talked a lot about that, of how he and LaFleur will shuffle and move things around, and he was like very candid about like, nope, I got Khalil Mack on that side, I'm not running it to that side, I need to run it to this side, I need to move productions around. Like he's super smart. So yeah, he's I think a lot of that is due to him, but
sure.
However they gear that offense around him. But yeah, I'm taking the Packers -8.5.
I'm also going Packers only because not only, but in addition to everything you just said, because I feel like there's this weird thing with the Eagles where people still, not that odds makers are smarter than we are, but just the general public, where the money's going. I think people really don't realize how awful the Eagles are. Like, the Eagles are horrible.
I mean, I've seen them, I've seen them play a lot this year in the NFC East, and then, Wentz is the worst.
Really, really, and I think people still like kind of view him, unless you're paying close attention. They're like, oh yeah, wasn't he supposed to get MVP? That's so I feel like people haven't caught up to how bad he is now, right?
Because they can't believe it. It's like watching
huge fall off.
I think it's the same thing with Brady, where people are kind of looking at Brady like, why aren't you just winning? Why aren't you better? Like, why aren't you just easily winning?
Right.
And it's probably wild for lifers of Brady fan, you know what I mean? To see him kind of, because he's not Ryan Finley in the Bengals, you know what I mean? Like, who is that?
Sure.
We've never seen him be good. But yeah, Carson Wentz, like, he had that MVP season 2017, right?
And it's weird because they won this, and he was injured, but it's still like, it's like he almost got MVP, and then the team won the Super Bowl, so I feel like people just expect it to be like this Super Bowl candidate, and it's like, no, they're not. They're horrible.
He got the shine from that. He got his contract, and they're kind of in this weird thing where they're like, well, we got to fire Peterson on the chance that we could bring someone in who can work with them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and you're going to lose your job, not because you're probably necessarily the problem, but like we've invested so much into Wentz that we can't change Wentz, so we have to change you, and that sucks.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I kind of love it because I'm a Cowboys fan. So,
yeah.
I'm sure you're not hating it either.
No, of course not. But it's wild to watch.
It is wild, but also like good. So on to the primetime games. There's 4 of them because we're living in COVID times. Things are weird. Sunday Night Football. Broncos 4-7 plus 14 against the Chiefs, who a lot of people I think Steelers are undefeated. I think a lot of people are still thinking the Chiefs are the best team in football. They are 10-1 minus 14 at home. I don't. This is actually really hard, and this is why the line is what it is. But like, it is so hard in the NFL to take 14-point favorites, but also the Broncos are so bad. I don't know, man. Yeah. You can start. It's easy for me to piggyback off you. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I think
14 points is so many points.
I had him at 13.5, which isn't really a huge difference, but no. I think I don't know what the spread was. It was at least 13.5 when the Jets played the Chiefs, and I took it. And it hit easily because they won by, I want to say, like 30 points or something. But this is another one where I feel pretty confident just because the Broncos can't score points. Like, they just can't. Philip Lindsay is dinged up. His knee is all jank. It was very weird. Like, I'm watching the game. He leaves the game with a knee injury, and he's just sitting on a bench. And he's like looking at his knee, and he's like flexing it back and forth. And I'm like, and they were like, yep, he's been ruled out. But he's not like being seen by trainers. He's not working on it. He doesn't have ice on it. He's just sitting there. It's just kind of like, it looked like you just took your ball and went home kind of a thing. Like, oh, fuck this, I'm done. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, but it was wild. It's like, he's a professional athlete. He's just kind of sitting there. No ice on his knee. Just hanging out. Just sitting there on a bench. Just, with his giant weird fro. Just so odd to watch. And then, I mean, that was one of the least weird things about that game. But, they're not going to keep up. I mean, Mahomes is just crazy. Kelsey is leading. Is he third in the league in receiving yards? Third, fourth, something like that. I mean,
there's some stat that came out, or some hot take on Twitter where I saw today. I think it was today or yesterday. They said Kelsey was the best non-quarterback in the league. I don't
best position player that's not a quarterback.
Not even position. I think there's the best player in the league that's not a quarterback. which I don't think I agree with that. But that was like the hot take. I think it was probably a Twitter comment or something.
I mean, it's weird because he wasn't even the best tight end in the league.
Right.
Like Kittle's hurt, right? So
yeah.
But I think there was there wasn't much debate. I thought most people had kind of said like, yeah, Kittle.
Ooh, it's UConn's own Dan Orlovsky said it. That's
okay.
a UConn quarterback. But whatever. You can't trust anything. These talking heads are all trying to make headlines, which I guess mission accomplished.
That's crazy. I mean, yeah, Kittle's sitting there on the sidelines with his ankle and knee, and he's like, "Remember when I was the best tight end? Now he's the best player in the league." That's crazy. But
yeah, if you say like Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, you're not making headlines. So you have to be like, Mitch Trubisky is actually the most talented quarterback, and then all of a sudden it goes everywhere. So
right, yeah. Whatever. So I mean, Tyreek Hill he finally broke out. He's had like kind of I don't know if statistically I could be talking about it in my ass, but I feel like he's just, the eye test hasn't been that great this year. Like last year, I felt like Tyreek Hill was on another level. This year, a little bit down, and then last week it was insane. It was like, oh, remember me? I can just run by everyone. So yeah, he had 3 touchdowns last week, I think. So
holy shit, I'm looking at 269 yards receiving.
Yeah, he was just running out there. I mean, they were just.
He's actually been he hadn't had a 100-yard game until the Panthers 3 weeks ago. So then 113 yards, 102 yards, 269 yards, which is unbelievable. And then 2 touchdowns. He's been putting up touchdowns, I guess, but it's been pretty pedestrian numbers as far as 3, 4, 5 receptions and under 100 yards. For him, that's not bad, but for him, that's low.
I can't even name another. I'm trying to think who else. The Chiefs, other than Kelsey, they don't have a prolific receiver. He's not like splitting reps with it's not like Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones or something. You know what I mean? Like
Sammy Watkins, but he disappears.
Yeah.
And then,
oh my god,
McCole Hartman. I don't know, man. Yeah, right.
I mean, yeah, like who's out there? Like
he's the only star. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like even the Raiders have at least. Guys that I can, you've got Ruggs, you've got Waller, you've got Renfro. Like I can name a few. On the Chiefs, I can't. It's all about Mahomes. It's all about Kelsey. It's all about Tyreek Hill, the cheetah. So yeah, I don't know. I'm taking it just because they haven't steered me wrong yet. But yeah, the Chiefs are one of those weird teams. Like it's in division. I think is Drew Lock finally back, or they got I know they signed a 4th quarterback to just be your hang at home quarterback, and which basically I love what happened with the Broncos has transcended the league now, where they're all scrambling. Like all the teams are basically having their emergency don't come into the compound, but it was Jake McCown. Was it Jake McCown who was living in Texas, but he was on the Eagles roster? You remember that?
Yeah, vaguely.
Luke McCown, Jake McCown. I'm trying to remember. One of the McCown.
Drew Lock is back, by the way.
Okay, he's back. So I mean, they'll figure it out. But Drew Lock was pretty up and down and terrible.
Yeah, it's not like
his big win was the Chargers.
Mahomes back. Yeah. That's not like an instant fix.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going. This feels like I'm going Chiefs -14. I feel like it's one of those things where you're like +14. That's so many points, and then you're checking the scores, and the Chiefs won by 40. And you're like, oh god damn it. So yeah, I'll go Chiefs -14. Sorry, we'll defer to you on this one because this is your team. We talked about it a little bit before, but very complimentary line. Washington +7, Steelers -7. Steelers still undefeated. Washington absolutely blew the doors off the Cowboys. It was really hard to watch.
I mean, have we talked since we haven't talked since that game, right?
No, and I've given up on the Cowboys. Like I know they're horrible, but it's still Thanksgiving, and it's just I mean it was I didn't want to see that. It's horrible. I hate it. Anyway, congratulations.
No, I mean, it sucks because you want your team to win. I want my team to lose.
Text me. You're like
so sorry, man, or something. Yeah, I was like, ooh, sorry, man.
Yeah.
Because I'm not enjoying it either. We're both sitting at home on Thanksgiving, not enjoying what we're
kind of wanting to lose. Kind of, yeah.
Oh
exactly,
yeah.
Right.
I'm full on tank. Get me a quarterback. Figure it out. We have Alex Smith hobbling around out there. It's brutal to watch. Yeah, once the Haskins experiment ended, I think I've talked about it every week. I was in full on tank mode. I mean, starting this year, so, yeah, I mean, if they have to win, if they have to do it against anyone, I'd love it against the Cowboys, honestly. You know what I mean? That's the win. It's a great, if you're going to get 2 wins this year, let's sweep the boys.
Why wouldn't you?
Oh yeah. Well, the Skins, you got to understand, man. I mean, they don't win on national television.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some of the lowest, the Michael Vick Monday night game, you name it, the Steelers Monday night game. There's been some like historically brutal, horrible, like at home, at FedEx Field losses in prime time that have just scarred me. So it was nice to get one on the road. No one expected it was in Dallas, right? Am I remembering that correctly? Like Jerry Jones just sitting up there, fucking just losing his shit. Probably he didn't do a post game, right, or something? Was that I don't know. I heard
I didn't stick around that long.
Okay, yeah. I mean, but yeah, it's fun because they have pieces and stuff. You know what I mean? Like Chase Young was out there eating up. Antonio Gibson got 3 touchdowns for a rookie wide receiver rookie running back who played wide receiver at Memphis, who only had 79 touches. You know what I mean? Like people are pulling up his Memphis stats. Like, wait a second, he had 11 touchdowns on 79 touches as a college player. And meanwhile, he's got 9 touchdowns in 12 weeks of NFL football. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. So, but looking ahead to this year, or this game rather, it's interesting because this is the number 1 defensive line and the number 2 defensive lines playing against totally immobile quarterbacks. So it could be an absolute shit show of just defenses getting after it, but Big Ben gets the ball out faster than any other quarterback. Is that kind of insane? He gets it. Yeah. He gets it out faster than Drew Brees.
I didn't know that stat, and I'm sure that's accurate. I don't think, but like that doesn't pass the eye test at all.
No. Yeah, which it doesn't seem like this big lumbering oaf would be have the quickest release.
Lightning
what
fast,
I mean?
Right?
Yeah. So, I mean, both of them are gonna, it's going to be, at least Bud Dupree is out for the year. You know what I mean? He tore his ACL last week against Baltimore a few days ago, I guess, rather. But so he's not going to be there. So they're going to be able to scheme it up. They're going to put, Logan Thomas in to chip on TJ Watt. It's TJ, right? That plays in Pittsburgh. I can never remember. JJ, TJ.
Yeah, JJ's Texans. Yep.
Okay. So they're going to chip him. They're going to be able to figure it out. They still have, is it Cameron Hayward who's still there? Or is he on... Am I confusing him with the dude who's on the Saints? I don't know. But anyway, they're going to be able to hopefully figure it out, get the ball out of his hands, use Antonio Gibson. They're going to have to account for McLaurin coming up over the top. But, the Steelers secondary is super highly ranked. I think they're one of the best total defenses. They're up there with the Rams in all the categories of secondary and red zone defense and all that stuff. So if they can get the ball out of Alex Smith's hands quickly and they can figure out a way to get Antonio Gibson in space, then I think that they'll at least cover. So I'm gonna take the Skins to cover at 7. But yeah, I mean, the Steelers looked horrible against an RG3. You know what I mean? So I love it. Like I hate it, but I love it. Like RG3 lasted like a half a football. Like that's what he's good for these days. You know what I mean? Before he gets hurt. But it was fun watching him like scamper out there. And I think in one of the earlier episodes this year, didn't I make a joke about RG3 throwing to Des Bryant? And it actually fucking happened.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't believe that. I can't believe it. So
it's a year redemption. I'm also going Washington +7. I almost for the same reason. First of all, I could see this actually being a really close game. I could also see somehow the Skins pulling it off. I don't know why.
People are saying it, man. People feel that trap game. They got that nice Dallas stink on them. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit, here we go.
Just something where it's like what? This is the team to beat the Steelers. I can just see that headline. I don't know why.
God.
But more logically, it's for the same reason that I'm going with the Giants to cover against the Seahawks. I just feel like it's going to be a close enough game, a defensive game where Steelers just won't have that opportunity to really pull away and win by a lot. I know 7's a lot, more realistic of a line than 10.5, but for me, I don't know. I just feel like the Washington football team will pull it off. So I'm going Washington +7. The second Monday night game, I guess the late night game, Bills +1 against the 49ers -1. Bills 8-3. 49ers hosting at 5-6. What do you got?
Weird. This is a weird one because I don't know why I wrote down game is played in Arizona. I must have meant to write that down. Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, so the 49ers basically got banned. Santa Clara County says you're not allowed to have football. So they're playing the game in Arizona. So it's technically, I mean, a West Coast team still, and it's not that far.
Yeah, but technically neutral, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. This
anyway,
is
so who cares, But they do have to travel. You're right.
Yeah, so the Bills, I mean, that's a hell of a flight anyway. But this is funny because it's back to they've been home, and then so their last road game was Arizona when they lost to the Hopkins Hail Mary. So now they come back to the same building, different team, but they can kind of redeem themselves, against that horrible moment, which is probably one of the more. That's probably play of the year. Can you think of a better play to win play of the year than that Hail Mary?
Yeah, no. That's certainly the one that sticks in my head first. There might have been like a more spectacular,
I think DK Metcalf like running down.
Sure.
What's his name maybe or something. But
yep.
Man, it's got to be up there. But I don't know. I've got Bills +1. This is a weird kind of pick'em game. I just think that Diggs has got to get back on track, and Josh Allen, he's got to play better than what he was last week. Deebo Samuel played great for the 49ers last week. Mostert came back, but he didn't really get going. I have Mostert, I think, on 2 fantasy teams. It just kills me every week. Bills' run D is ranked in the mid-20s or something. It's not that great, so I think Mostert could kind of get back in order. But, Deebo Samuel, I think he got 11 passes, 133 yards, so not too bad. I also saw this weird stat. Bills have not won a Monday Night Football game since 1999.
Wow.
They have not won the century. They're looking for the first win of the century. So,
Jesus.
Yeah. So, who knows? I mean, the 49ers look good. I mean, it shut down, managed to, shut down the Rams and Goff and everything like that. But, I still like the Bills plus the points. I don't know. It's kind of a weird, scrappy pick 'em to me.
No, I do too. I mean, when you're talking about like a 1-point line, you're basically trying to pick who's going to win the game. That's all it is. And I feel like the Bills are just a better team. I don't know. Yes, the 49ers are trending in the right direction, I guess. I don't know. I feel like the Bills are the real deal. I don't think it's just a fluke. They've been kind of building towards being a real contender in the AFC East, even before the whole Brady-Belichick departure and all that. I don't know. I guess I just trust the Bills, so I'm going with the Bills as well. And then finally, the prestigious Tuesday Night Football slot. Cowboys 3-8 at the Ravens 6-5. It's a 7.5-point game. I think that the Cowboys, when they won against the Vikings, they almost created this idea that like maybe Andy Dalton could do it. I don't know. But then after what happened to Washington at Thanksgiving, maybe it's just me now reacting to that, and I'm just demoralized. But I feel like this is a game where the Ravens win by 100. Again, betting with my heart here, not my brain as much, but I'm going Ravens to cover easily. I really think the Cowboys are that bad. I think Andy Dalton is horrible. I don't know. I do like the Cowboys' defense. I feel like they were horrible. They were like a high school defense, and they've really made some strides there, but it's not enough. I think the Ravens are going to blow them out. Yeah,
I think Dallas is, the run D is ranked 32nd, dead last in the league. The pass D is ranked like 30th. So, across the board, they look horrible. Who is the defensive coordinator of the Cowboys?
It's some guy who
he was out of the league for 3 years, living in the woods or something.
Who McCarthy,
oh my God,
signed because we had Marinelli, right? And then it's some guy who McCarthy. His whole staff. He's horrible. His staff's horrible. Terrible signing as a coach. Okay. But what are you gonna do?
No, I mean, it's incredible. It looks
When you have Aaron Rodgers for that long, you only win one Super Bowl. That actually is a failure. Even
that's what people are. I've heard that point being.
I heard that point in real time. By the way, that's not even like a hindsight thing. It's like we should have known that before we picked him.
Yeah. No, I mean Zeke looks bad. He's leading the NFL in fumbles. He loses a lot of them too. You know what I mean? So it's
he's horrible. He's got. There's some game where before the game, he said that's not going to happen anymore. And he fumbled twice in that game.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if fumbles are a mental thing.
I'm wondering the same thing because it wasn't really an issue until this year. I mean, a little bit, but not it was never something people talked about. And then this year, he's horrible.
I got to. I mean,
Have you seen Remember the Titans? When they stick the ball in Petey's hands?
Right. Yeah.
They need to do something like that. I don't know.
I don't know what they got to do, but make him run a mile every time he fumbles the ball.
He won't like that. He's got a kind of pot belly. Yeah. So
yeah. He's a fascinating character. He's got the nose ring, and he's kind of semi-fat, but always has the gut hanging out. Yeah, you know what I mean? Fat for me,
I trade feed me tattooed to his stomach. So,
oof, it's not a great look. I mean,
nope.
That
as a Cowboys fan, not a huge fan of Zeke. It's yeah, as a talent, sure, I guess here and there. I mean, he's hard to, I don't know, but as a human, like, not my favorite player.
Did he not go to Mexico this year to do his pre-workout stuff?
I don't even know. I know he got COVID. Didn't he get COVID for having a party right in like April?
Sounds about right.
Yeah,
that sounds pretty up Zeke's alley. But he might be able to run on the Ravens D. People have been running on him. You can't throw on him that well. But people are making people are making hay out there running on the Ravens defense. So Dalton versus the Ravens pass D, it could be pretty bad because they get to the quarterback. So man, but dude, I don't know. Like I think the Ravens still have like 11 people out. Even Harbaugh today was like, I won't confirm if who all is playing because they're all on different timelines and they're all a different effect. Like I think Marlon Humphrey had COVID and had no problems with it, and then Calais Campbell has COVID and was like devastated by it, where he was saying like, I pray no other human like has to deal with this. So it sounds like he had quite the time. You know what I mean? And then I don't know how Lamar Jackson kind of reacted, if he's asymptomatic or if he's actually sick. So they've got all kinds of weird problems going on, and those are like major contributing players, So people are, at least Trace McSorley looks pretty good, looks better than RG3 looked. So at least you have like a serviceable third quarterback. So yeah, I'm easily going to take the Ravens to cover 2.
Yeah, the Cowboys are still fighting for a playoff spot, which is insane, but they are.
They're picking 19th, right? Are they still in the lead or no? What's the
Cowboys?
Yeah, are they still?
No, we're in last. But if we win, we're at least tied for the lead. Because especially this week, when all the NFC is supposed to lose. Like technically, if the Cowboys can somehow win with all the chaos going on in Baltimore right now, then I think we're at least tied in the win column. I'm not sure.
All right,
but it's horrible.
It's a race to the bottom. You know what I mean? Yep. I just want that like 4th or 5th spot.
Yeah, I need a quarterback. I think it's like everyone has either 3 or 4 wins right now.
Well, because isn't Zeke the highest Cowboys draft pick in a while? He was like 3rd, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, I would say. I don't know about 3rd. I don't know where he was, but yeah, he was definitely
I think he was
10.
at least top 5.
Yeah.
I thought he was everyone was laughing that a running back got picked that high. But,
I remember that.
when you're the Cowboys,
That's true. Whatever. Anyway, so get into the locks now. We'll go through them quickly, I guess. So as a reminder, I got 3 and 4. My record so far for locks is 3 and 4. Kevin Quinn, West Coast Kevin 6 and 5. East Coast Kevin 8 and 2, and my faithful co-host 4 and 4. So I actually, with that logic, and I kind of talked myself into it as we were talking about it, I'm going to take a tease. I'm going to take a tease of those 2 games that I thought the underdog will probably lose the game, but the defenses is going to be a good enough battle where it'll be close enough where the favorite won't have a chance to pull away. So those 2 games were the Washington versus Steelers game. Washington is +7. With the tease, they will be +13 now. And then the Giants-Seahawks game, Giants 10.5, Seahawks -10.5. With the tease, Giants will be +16.5. I think both those would be. I don't think it's going to be a clean enough victory by the winner to overcome those crazy odds. So I'll take a Giants Washington tease, the NFC East shit show special. Kevin Quinn is picking the Chargers straight up +1. That's his lock of the week. Chargers +1 against who was it? Oh, the Pats. And then Hatch is going a tease between the Browns and the Eagles, which gives the Browns 11.5 points and the Eagles 14.5. I got to see who they're playing now. That's Browns versus Titans and the Eagles versus the Packers, respectively. So taking the 2 underdogs there and getting more points with it. And then what do you got?
I'm going to go Pats +1. So I'm going directly in the face of, is it East Coast
That's
Kevin
West
or
Coast
West
Kev.
Coast?
We got a face off.
Yeah. So
wow.
one will kill the other one here. So yeah. I'm going to go Pats +1.
That's exciting for all our faithful listeners. All right. So I guess that's it. We'll wrap it up for this week. I will see you next week. Rate, review, subscribe. Basically just follow Kevin Hatch's pace because he's the only one that wins consistently. And I think that's it. You got anything else?
That's it. Nope. We got stuff coming out this week. We've got Trash with Ash coming.
What?
We've got Holiday. No, it's Doolittle. No, yeah. She's doing Doolittle. It took her 5 times to watch it.
But, we talked about that.
Yeah, we finally recorded it, and I'm just editing it and getting it all together and everything. But so that's coming out. Maybe a holiday special. She says she wants to do a holiday recap with you because you're the only one who's watched anything.
Is she gonna like the Netflix ones?
Yeah. So she's watched. What have you watched so far, Ash? Holiday.
Yep, I saw that.
Operation Christmas Drop.
I
she's
saw that.
watching.
It's even worse.
Christmas Chronicles 1 and 2.
I've only seen the first one.
Okay, so she's making her way through them. You know what I mean?
Operation
So,
Christmas Drop and Holiday. I'm definitely prepared to talk about. I can watch Christmas. I saw the very beginning of Christmas Chronicles where they're on the beach.
what was the she was complaining to me about one more about with Forrest Whitaker. What was the music?
Oh yeah,
Jingle
that one's
Jangle.
on my list. That one's on
There
my
you go,
list.
Jingle Jangle. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
haven't
she's up for a holiday recap if you're into it.
Sure.
Yeah, and then Volpe and I will try to do our best films of the year. You and I are doing best TV shows of the year.
Yeah, I've been working on
got
albums as well. So.
Albums, books of the year is coming.
Oh, yeah, books.
First for us. So
Yeah, introducing Allie. She definitely has blurbs already. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, she'll have a top 10 books of the year as well.
yeah, that's awesome. We all need to read more.
Sure.
So yeah. Well, there you go. I'm all set.
Thanks, man.